Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. All right, today we have a rapid-fire breakdown of some massive AI industry shifts that literally just hit the wire on August 13th, 2026. Look, what we are seeing right now is a literal arms race. It's a race of speed, money, and scale all across the globe. We're talking about billions of dollars being poured into shaving off mere milliseconds of processing time.
But before we really get into the weeds, I want you to consider a pretty massive underlying question here. What actually happens when AI runs out of speed and money? Because that is the core dilemma driving this frantic push for infrastructure and, frankly, the mega valuations we're about to explore. The industry is hitting a bottleneck, and the solutions are anything but cheap.
So, let's jump into Section 1, the infrastructure speed race. We are pushing the limits of compute.
The head-to-head battle happening right now is just wild. OpenAI is pushing their GPT 5.6 Sol to a blistering 750 output tokens per second in their new ultra-fast tier. And they're doing that using Cerebrus chips. That is 14 times faster than standard processing. To put that in perspective, entire books could be generated in seconds. But Anthropic, they are countering hard. They're negotiating a massive $6 billion buyout of the Israeli startup Descartes AI. They are specifically going after their GPU tech to hit 8 times the industry average speed. It is clear that speed is the new intelligence.
And it's not just a US battle either. China's DeepSeek is matching this infrastructure trend head-on. They officially launched DeepSeek V4 Pro. Now, this isn't just a simple chatbot. It is a highly agent-capable model designed specifically for tool use, code execution, and autonomous multi-step tasks. Because when your AI is basically acting as an independent employee running complex loops, raw compute speed isn't a luxury anymore, right? It's a strict requirement. If the model is slow, the whole autonomous agent just fails.
Which brings us to Section 2, valuations and mega IPOs, the multi-billion-dollar stakes.
$10.9 billion. That is Anthropic's staggering Q2 revenue figure, according to recent investor estimates. And what's even wilder is that to fuel that insane infrastructure upgrade we just talked about, they are actually approaching their very first operating profit. So it goes to show that massive compute investments can, in fact, yield sustainable returns.
But they are absolutely not stopping there. $2 trillion. That is Anthropic's jaw-dropping target valuation for an expected October NASDAQ listing. This massive IPO target is being driven by projections that they're going to hit $100 to $120 billion annualized run rate by this December. The financial momentum here is completely unprecedented. It completely dwarfs the tech booms of the past.
Now, OpenAI isn't just sitting idle while Anthropic preps for a massive IPO. They just appointed Dali Rajic as their new chief revenue officer. So OpenAI is aggressively preparing for their own anticipated public offering by massively scaling their enterprise sales team to compete. It's basically a massive sprint to lock in enormous corporate contracts before they go public. And the financial rapid fire just keeps going overseas. $74 billion. DeepSeek is currently pursuing an $8 billion fundraising round at that massive valuation. And why? Well, to fund the exact same compute expansion and custom chip development we were just talking about. Hardware is the ultimate barrier to entry, and it literally takes tens of billions of dollars just to play the game. So how is DeepSeek actually paying for all this scale? Well, they are introducing dynamic pricing effective August 16th. The old price for peak API usage was just 87 cents. The new price? A huge jump to $3.96 per million output tokens. This steep jump is a real reality check for the industry. The skyrocketing cost of speed is now being directly passed down to developers. Building AI apps is about to get significantly more expensive during peak hours for sure.
All right, let's move to Section 3. Scaling users and trust. Billions of users and new regulations.
1 billion. Google's CEO Sundar Pichai just announced that the Gemini app has officially crossed 1 billion monthly active users. And what's fascinating here is that Gemini actually overtook ChatGPT's pace to reach that exact same massive threshold. The adoption curve for consumer AI is accelerating way faster than social media or mobile ever did. So how do you even support a user base that massive? Well, Google is rolling out some crucial new Gemini updates. We're seeing copyable notebooks with sources so you can instantly duplicate editable workspaces.
There's the new streaming speech preview model for faster voice interaction and enhanced interactions API log visibility for developers in AI Studio. These are deep workflow integrations. They're designed to make AI a permanent fixture in everyday productivity. But look, with great scale comes great regulatory scrutiny. To comply with the EU AI Act, Anthropic just made a massive transparency move. They stated that Claude models launched on or after August 2nd embed a machine-readable watermark in generated text globally, meeting Article 50. This means an imperceptible signal now travels with copy-pasted text across all Claude surfaces worldwide. It's basically a technological footprint that tracks exactly where AI-generated content originates.
Which brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. In this massive race for AI dominance, how do we actually balance global transparency mandates with individual user privacy? These embedded tracking watermarks are absolutely crucial for compliance, but they are already sparking major developer concerns over privacy and surveillance. So, where exactly do we draw the line? I will leave you to think about that one. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.